Hi, folks. This is Multicultural Canada, a course I'm taking at the Yukon University. And today, my lecturer has tasked me to review some videos on social media that focuses on multiculturalism, ethnicity, and racism. So I went on YouTube and I saw a few videos that I want to share with you. One of them being Canada's multicultural image, how its branding fell short. So I watched this video. It was actually 10 minutes 59 seconds video, so approximately 11-minute video that was talking about challenges Canada is facing with multiculturalism. Now, the video first started with an apology from the past president, uh, Justin Trudeau, who was apologizing for his black brown face um, controversy. And that was one issue. One of the commentators was talking about the fact that it was just a single issue that people were making noise about it, but it doesn't necessarily tackle the systematic issue. It's like one person doing something, and then we all focus our attention on it. And when the person apologizes, we as a humans feel that when somebody does wrong and recognize it, we need to accept and then forgive the person. But that does not take away the systematic issue Canada has been dealing with ever since. So that's one thing that the commentator said, which I truly agree. Now, the video went on and then spoke about 1971, where Pierre Trudeau, that is the father of Justin Trudeau, was in government, where he talked about multiculturalism. And he was actually the one who spearheaded multiculturalism and then materialized it or took it a bit further by making it a policy somewhere around July 21, 1988, where it actually became a policy in Canada. Now, before that, there were some events in 1963. As the video narrated, there was a quite revolution. And then some commentators in the video made it clear that Quebec actually wanted French to be recognized as a national language together with English. Now, at that time, Quebec was being viewed as a second class state or second class region, and therefore they also needed recognition of the French language. Now, there was a committee that was set, which is the Royal Commission, and then one of the outcome of the commission was being implemented by Pierre Trudeau, which was making French and English a national language in Canada. Now, when this happened, it meant that all other language belonged, all other language were labeled as language for other ethnic groups, including language of the First Nations. So, languages of the First Nations were boxed with languages of the immigrant, and they were all known as languages of other ethnic groups. And that was a bit worrisome, meaning that the languages of First Nations were one way or the other not welcome or were not given that level of significance. And this goes to question the fact that if we are dealing or talking about multiculturalism, then every culture would need to have a space to operate. But a situation where some cultures are recognized than other cultures, then there is a challenge with the main intent of multiculturalism. If we are all saying that different cultures can all come together in one boat, yet in the boat, some cultures are accepted, some other cultures are not accepted, then it becomes a worrying trend. Now, apart from that, there were some issues where commentators narrated that all the wrongdoings in the past must be corrected, including the residential school, the Chinese head facts, the Komagata Maru, the international internment of Japanese Canadians, and the 60s coup. These are all issues of injustice which have happened in the past and then must be addressed very well. Now, one commentator made a point which I totally agree. Now, talking about multiculturalism, she said that multiculturalism did not arise from a vacuum. It was a point where Canada realized that it needed to open its doors for immigrants to come in order to help push its economic vision because birth rate at that point were low. And then it was due to this domestic challenge that made it possible for Canada to open its doors for the rest of the world. And so it's a bit challenging when you have opened your doors for the rest of the world to come in. Yet you have issues like Bill 21, which does not allow religious practitioners from different groups to symbolically wear their religion on them. Then it becomes a problem. Even though we are talking about multiculturalism, but then we are still confined in terms of the practices. We are still confined in terms of what one can do, what one cannot do. There are still limitations in terms of people's ability to express their culture. And that's one important thing that I learned in this particular YouTube video, Canada's multicultural image, how its branding fell short. Now, we'll move into our second video and talk about some of the important elements in the next video. Hi, folks. This is another video that is titled Living in Color, the History of Anti-Black Racism in Canada. Now, this video basically talks about the experience of Black people when they were brought into Canada, why they were brought in, and then what happened to them as far back as 1834. So, Canada was embarking on a rail revolution, or like they were investing so much into rails, they needed workers. And Canada provided an avenue where you will call Canada as a hub for one to be free. So they were kind of enticed the black people to come here because there was freedom here, there was no slavery here. And yeah, the black people responded. About 30,000 came, and then they were hoping to be in a place where there is true freedom. But this is what happened when these blacks were brought into Canada, especially in Halifax. They lived in a community, and then it was known as Afriville. Now, in the Afriville community, for a decade, Halifax made sure that Afriville never had water. So these blacks living in this community did not have water. And then, apart from that, they were later relocated. And then, when they were being relocated, they were being put in a refuge truck, which is very demeaning. Now, the question is, why do you bring somebody all the way from the US proclaiming to give the person absolute freedom, and then you come and you want to make the person uncomfortable? Now, this is what I don't understand. You need somebody to help you work, you need laborers, and then you call on the US to open their door for you. They allow these laborers to come around. Yeah, you set up a community for them, and then you refuse to give them water. It's baffling. It's mind blowing. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like consciously sidelining the person, which I don't know why it must happen like that. But this is what happened way back in the city of Afriville, dating back in 1848. And for a decade, these black groups were not having water to drink. And this is very sad. Somewhere around 1970, they were relocated, and in their relocation, they were put in a garbage trucks. Some of them were put in a garbage trucks. When you watch the videos that I saw, which is very, very, very sad. In the same video, you see students protesting against a professor who was racist against some six black students, and then all that. Now, one striking aspect of the video, which I would want to pay attention to, was um, uh, in the video, it showed that it was Ontario Premier. If he's still the Premier, that is Doug Ford. And then Doug Ford was making a comment that Canada is different from the United States when it comes to racism because racism is deeply rooted in the United States. and then Canada doesn't have that. That is an issue. That's either undermining the issue of racism in Canada or not showing deeper knowledge with regards to the history of his own people or trying to downplay the issue, in a way to just let you know that while it is worse in US, Canada is manageable. It's okay to deal. I mean, the Canada situation is okay, which I thought was quite unfortunate. Apart from him, Franco Lego also made a similar comment that I don't want us to compare ourselves to the United States. And we have not experienced slavery like the United States. Same way, trying to compare the racism situation in Canada to that of United States, and then by comparing that, it makes Canada look better and the US looks worse. And then you are psychologically being pushed to a point that you have to accept it because it's better than the US, which still does not systematically solve the problem of racism, which still does not ensure a conscious effort that is made systematically to make the system better and then take away racism within the system. Now, the video ended with a commentary from Andre A. Davis, who happens to be an associate professor, Black Culture of America, York University. And I like her comment. She said that leaders have the responsibility to seek to know history of the people they govern, which means that all these two leaders who spoke acted like they did not know the history of Canada. They acted like the issue was trivial. They acted like Canada is better with regards to the issue of racism than the US. But then the core history, the real history, real appreciation of the history, which they would have to understand and take responsibility for the current systematic challenge Canada faces with regards to racism, it was ignored, trivialized, and relegated to the background. And then basically, this is my opinion about the video Living in Color, the history of anti-Black racism in Canada. Thank you.
I'm just gonna say it right. If more people, hold on, more white people would stand up against racism, we could probably get it to damn near end, y'all. I'll stand up for it. I know racism isn't right, but I need more white people to jump on this train to help me take a stand against racism. There are white people out here, y'all, that's got people thinking that we are all racist when that is not what's going on. So we have got to put a message out to take a stand against racism. Like, I will start it off. I don't care. I will stand alone in it if I have to. But if you're a white person and you're with me on this, help me push the content out. There's only one way to do this, and it comes with just being in unison. That's the only way. There is power in numbers, y'all. I don't care if you're black, Mexican, Indian, Asian, whatever it is that your race, ethnicity is. You don't have to be white for me to like you. And everybody else that feels this way, I need you to get on this train right now.
Hello, my friends. I want to share an incident with you which happened with me in Costco at around 7 p.m. today. This Costco is situated at Laird Road in Mississauga. This lady, which you see in the background, she talked to me in a very condescending tone. She called me an immigrant and laughed at me like she was running me down. It was thanks to those 3-4 families which were around me. They jumped in. They talked to her on the way she was talking to me because I was completely shocked, guys. This has happened to me first time ever in Canada while I have been here for last 6.5 years. I have worked around the globe, but I've never ever experienced such an incident. Even the families around me, one of the ladies in the out of the families, those families which were around me arguing on my behalf with this lady, they called up the Costco staff. Once the Costco staff was there, this lady who was speaking ill with me just immediately rushed out. So much so that these pictures which I'm currently sharing have been shared with me with another witness, that lady who was fighting on my behalf. Guys, I have nothing against this lady. I'm just sharing this incident. Like, this happened with me. What if it happens with my kids? Is this the kind of a Canada we are leaving behind? My experience so far has been great here. Local Canadians have been very warm, very welcoming, very open. But this incident just shook me. Guys, let's all of us decide, agree to the fact that this is not the Canada we are leaving behind. Racism has no place in Canada.
Who is this black woman and why is she on the Canadian $10 bill? Meet Viola Desmond, Canada's own civil rights icon, also known as the Rosa Parks of the North. 9 years before Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat in Montgomery, Alabama, Viola took a stance against racial segregation in Nova Scotia, Canada. In 1946, she was arrested for sitting in a whites-only section in a movie theater. But just like Rosa, her quiet but powerful defiance ignited change, challenging unjust laws and inspiring future generations. Though separated by borders, both women fought the same fight, demanding dignity, justice, and equal rights. Their courage reminds us that resistance is powerful, and every single act of defiance can make history. Today, Viola is honored by being the first woman to be honored on the Canadian $10 bill, a lasting tribute to her legacy.
All right, I believe all of you have gone through the TikTok videos, and then we'll have the last two before we go. But so far, one video was about a white woman taking a stand and saying that the stereotype is enough. White men and women who believe they are not racist should take a stand with her and fight against racism. I believe it was a good call. I was surprised by that, but I felt, yes, that was more humanistic when people tag you or when you're being labeled as racist and then you believe you are not. It is important to stand up against it and let the world know that that is not true. Stereotype can be a big challenge, and it's important for us to fight. There was also another video where an Indian was complaining at a supermarket that a woman has been racist to him. To the way he was talking, I think he had experienced a culture shock. And I love the question where he asked, is it a kind of Canada we're going to live for our children? And then it was important for all stakeholders to come on board to ensure that that is being napped in the bud, or that is nipped in the bud. Yeah, so that was equally a good call. Another video that I came across, which was striking for me, which I did not want to let go, was the $10 video where you have Viola Desmond and a story behind it somewhere in Nova Scotia. The lady took a stand, sat in a bus where he was expected to stand up for another person to sit. I guess you know the story. And then because she took a stand, today she has been rewarded in the struggle, or she has been rewarded out of whatever she fought way back. Again, she went to a theater where there was a section which was solely for white people. Viola Desmond sat in that section, and it also became a big issue within the country. At the end of the day, the symbolism is that no matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it's going to be, it is important for us to all fight for a systematic change. Yeah, that's what I get from that particular story. Now, the last two videos that you're going to watch, it's very interesting. Now, let's talk about Brampton. Now, there was a white guy who was talking about Brampton, as in there has been a significant change in Brampton. When he used to be in school, the change was happening, but it was gradual. But now the Indians have taken over Brampton. And then he was of the view that, you can see the Canadian infrastructure, but then the people are different, making the whole place different. He was also kind of lamenting about the fact that the Indians were taking over politics, law enforcement, and the military. Now, just after that video, an MP comes and then talk about challenges Brampton is facing, and then throws a challenge in Parliament, or kind of emphasize in Parliament that Brampton needs better health facilities because of its growing number. It deserves better because comparative to other regions in Canada, Brampton lacks the needed facilities in terms of healthcare. And then it really links with the first video that talked about influx of Indians in Brampton and the fact that an Indian MP is also fighting for proper healthcare. The question is, do you think that in terms of resources that Brampton needs, they are being marginalized in a way? Well, that's a question to be answered. But I felt that video
kind of synchronizes, and so I decided to make it the last part of the video. Thank you so much. I believe you enjoy it. Bye bye.
Take a look around. It's you feel like you're in a different country. To be honest with you, this is what this city has become. Brampton, Ontario, Bangladesh.
I mean, we got Indian people hanging out by the group.
Beautiful park.
It is. I mean, it's got the Canadian infrastructure, but it's the people make you feel like you're in a different nation.
Yeah, I would never move to Brampton. I used to live in Brampton, and it's only gotten worse from when I went to middle school, 30 years ago.
Right.
It's getting to the point where it's too much. They start small. It's not a large takeover. It's not an immediate takeover. We're going to settle in. We're going to take over city by city. They take prominent positions in our country, politics, school boards,
Law enforcement, military,
and all of a sudden, they seem to have the power.
Let's look at how badly Brampton is being left behind. Windsor is a city of over 200,000 people, and they have 2 hospitals. Hamilton is a city of around 600,000 people, and they have 3 hospitals. Mississauga is a city of over 800,000 people, and they have 3 hospitals. I want to ask the Conservative Minister of Health to name me another city in Canada that has over 700,000 people and only 1 hospital. Brampton is the only city in the entire country that is being left behind in such a terrible way, and the Conservative government is allowing it to happen. And now on top of it, they're denying that our city and our residents want better. Well, Bramptonians do deserve better, and we in the NDP are going to fight to make it happen. So will the Conservative Minister of Health admit that she was wrong, that Bramptonians do deserve 3 hospitals, and more importantly, commit to the funding today to make sure that our city has 3 hospitals with 3 emergency rooms?